Hello, welcome to our channel, a place where you learn English through emotional stories of famous people. In this series, we don't just study grammar. We walk into the hearts of people who lived extraordinary lives. We feel their pain. We see their dreams. We understand their journey. Today, we begin the story of Frida Kahlo, an artist, a survivor, and a woman who turned her deepest pain into powerful art. Let us begin. Frida was born in 1907 in a small house known as La Casa Azul, the Blue House, in Mexico City. She was not like other children. Her eyes were curious. Her smile was quiet. And her thoughts were deep. When she was only 6 years old, something terrible happened. She caught a disease called polio. It left her right leg thinner and weaker than the other. Children laughed at her. She walked with a limp. But she never cried in public. Instead, she began to imagine. She created stories. She drew pictures. She learned to hide her pain inside her imagination. Frida was a curious student. She asked big questions. She read poetry, studied science, and wanted to become a doctor. She entered the National Preparatory School in Mexico City, one of the best schools in the country. She was one of the very few girls there. But she never tried to fit in. She wore bold clothes. She laughed loudly. She stood up for herself. She believed that a woman could be anything she wanted: strong, smart, independent. In 1925, when Frida was only 18, everything changed. She was riding a bus with a friend. Suddenly, a streetcar crashed into them. The metal pushed through her body. Her spine broke. Her legs, her ribs, her pelvis, all broken. Doctors did not think she would live. But Frida did not give up. She spent many months in bed. Her body was wrapped in casts. Her bones were healing, but her spirit refused to break. In that bed, a mirror was placed above her, and a box of paints beside her. Frida began to paint. Frida's first paintings were not soft or pretty. They were raw, honest, full of blood, tears, and broken bodies. She painted herself again and again because she said, "I am the subject I know best." Each painting showed her pain, but also her strength. She turned her body into a story, her wounds into art. People did not always understand her work. But Frida did not paint to be liked. She painted to survive. Even when she could not walk, Frida dressed in bright colors. She wore flowers in her hair. She smiled with gold teeth. She laughed loudly. People saw her and said, "She is a flame." Inside her, there was always pain. But outside, there was color, pride, and fire. She never wanted pity. She wanted power. Frida Kahlo was becoming more than a painter. She was becoming a symbol. Frida was still recovering from her accident when she decided to show her paintings to a famous Mexican artist, Diego Rivera. He was tall, loud, and passionate. His murals told the stories of Mexico, the poor, the workers, the revolution. When he saw Frida's work, he was surprised. Her paintings were full of pain, yes, but also full of truth. He said, "You have something special, something powerful." Frida fell in love with him, and soon they married. Frida and Diego were both artists, but very different people. He painted big walls. She painted small canvases. He liked politics and power. She liked emotions and dreams. Still, they supported each other. They traveled together. They shared ideas. They became the most famous artist couple in Mexico. But love is not always easy. Frida loved Diego deeply, but their marriage was full of storms. He had affairs even with women close to Frida. She was hurt again and again. But she stayed, then left, then returned. It was a love filled with pain and passion. Frida once said, "I suffered 2 accidents in my life. One was the bus. The other was Diego." Even when it hurt, she turned that hurt into art. Frida was not only a painter, she was also political. She believed in justice, equality, and the rights of the poor. She joined the Communist Party. She met thinkers, writers, and fighters. One of them was Leon Trotsky, a man who escaped danger in Russia and found safety in Frida's home. She wrote with fire. She painted with protest. She lived with purpose. Frida always dreamed of being a mother. She believed that giving life would heal her body and spirit. But her injuries made pregnancy difficult. Every time she hoped, she lost the baby. She cried in silence. She painted her pain, the hospital beds, the unborn child, the blood, the loneliness. People called it dark. But it was honest. In those paintings, she was not just a woman. She was every woman who had ever lost. Even through all her pain, physical, emotional, political, Frida never stopped shining. She wore traditional Mexican dresses. She braided ribbons into her hair. Her eyebrows stood bold. Her face was proud. Every part of her dress, hair, walk, voice was her art. She became an icon, not just in Mexico, but around the world. She did not fit into any box. She created her own. In 1953, Frida was very sick. She could barely walk, but a gallery decided to show her work. It was her first solo exhibition in Mexico. Doctors told her to stay home. She said no. She arrived at the gallery in an ambulance. Her bed was placed in the center of the room. People cried. They clapped. They understood. Frida had brought her truth, her pain, her love, her power into the world. Frida's health worsened. Her leg was amputated. Her body grew weaker, but her spirit remained alive. She still wrote in her diary. She still painted when she could. Her last words written were, "I hope the exit is joyful and I hope never to return." She died in 1954 at the age of 47. But her story did not end there. Today, Frida Kahlo is more than a painter. She is a symbol of courage, of truth, of a woman who refused to hide her pain. Her house, La Casa Azul, is now a museum. Her face is on walls, clothes, and hearts. She painted pain, but gave the world strength. She never walked far, but she moved the world.